So I just would like, of course, to say that this meeting is being videotaped. So.
In the interim, and I understand the RSA that allows you to record the meeting. I would also ask that you would be aware of the decorum of the meeting and not be turning the laptop around. So, hey, let me show you the pictures of the people's ugly faces.
Oh, okay. No,
All
so
right,
just seeing
just
my
so you-
bright and
no.
shiny face.
That's fine.
Okay. I don't think you have an ugly face, Rick.
I didn't say that. My
Oh,
point
okay.
is, okay. So my point was that in the course of a meeting, you announced, and I watched it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that you turned the laptop around, as you said to me, or said to the
Tom, he was making
Tom,
faces.
You said that's right.
Yeah.
And that depreciates the decorum of the meeting in my mind.
Okay.
This
cool.
is not a game that we play up here.
No.
I'm sorry that you feel that way, but that's what you portray when you do things like that.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you felt that
You don't
way.
need to apologize. I'm just making a statement.
Okay.
That I prefer that it didn't digress to that type of an arena, I guess.
That's fine. So then, in absence, you're taking minutes, Rick, in the absence of the notebook?
Yeah. Actually, do we have a quorum for meeting?
Well,
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
They should be here.
Yeah, we'll give them a couple of minutes.
Do we have much on our agenda? Because it
No.
just said discussion.
You really don't. As far as I know. It's winter.
We have part of the roof that fell off,
Well, it's part of the siding.
siding.
Piece of vinyl, is that what it is?
It's actually
that's
the
right.
metal encasement that they
Good.
put before you put the siding on that. It's just been,
Flashing?
the flashing. But it's not flashing that would allow, rain to get into the building.
doing?
Oh,
It's the
okay.
underneath part.
Well, that's good.
Underneath is soft.
Howdy.
Hi,
Hey,
Dick.
You got any extra money? You can put an elevator in.
That's on the
Would
agenda.
that be all right?
Yeah.
Sure. Where you want me to sit? Where am I supposed to sit here? Is that my seat or?
You can sit wherever you want.
Okay, I'll get out and I'll sit in my car
No,
then.
you can't do that. That's the only thing you can't do.
Oh boy.
We have decorations.
So the decorations I thought went very well. Everybody like them?
For the building?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just have to send a little thank you note to my hairdresser.
I have a question, though. I have had some people approach me about the decorations, just wondering, the town hall is also a public building,
Mm-hmm.
and the Scribner building is a public building.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been some concern. People have spoken to me about it, wondering, to what extent are the decorations in line with being kind of a welcoming community for people of all faiths. And so while we have put up Christmas decorations, I understand that. I just that I'm hearing this from some people makes me think that there would be some people. I don't, I'll be the first to say, as a Christian, when I celebrate Christmas, I want to see a nativity scene about the birth of Jesus out front. But of course, this is a community public building and not a church, so I don't think that would be appropriate. So I don't know. I think it looks lovely. I am not saying anything negative about the Christmas decorations. I'm trying to bah humbug anybody. I'm simply bringing up, some people have come to me about this. Perhaps they felt more comfortable talking to me than to others. I don't know why.
Because we've been doing it forever and nobody's ever said a word.
Yeah.
This is the first I've,
Yeah. But anyway, but being
so
the
if
first
we-
that
if
you've
we-
heard,
if we
maybe
put
it's
a
something to
nativity
consider
scene
about.
out
Oh, I
front,
would never do
See,
that. I would vote against
That
that.
would be something I would
I would vote.
construed
I would
as
vote against that.
non-seasonal.
Yeah.
As far as putting up a snowman so the kids can put their face in
Yeah.
and take a picture
Yeah.
and throwing some lights around, I think that's more of
Yeah.
a community thing.
Oh, I agree.
Especially when
I
the whole
agree.
town has a Christmas Eve celebration. Now, if we were the only
Yeah.
ones in town
Christmas
that
night
were
in Ashland,
decorating the Scribner
Yeah.
building here, then I
Yeah.
would say that would be different, okay?
Uh-huh.
But we're enjoining with the town and
Yeah.
decorating, as you would see the
Yeah.
other, as the churches also get
Right,
involved.
right.
So
I
think it's
guess,
kind of a moot point myself.
well, I think you brought up a good point that perhaps might be something more for the Board of Selectmen because it is a town event that the Scribner building is participating in. I'm just thinking about Hanukkah and other things that we would want to, in kind of in
Well, that's
the
more
age of
religious.
inclusive. Okay.
So we just had this discussion that we weren't trying to go down the religious line. We were trying to be a seasonal
Okay.
invitation. And so I think that pretty much sums it up in my mind. I think if you bring in Hanukkah, and then we might as well bring in the other holidays that are celebrated.
Ramadan. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there is 15 groups of immigrants in the United States that celebrate their own types of parties, celebrations,
Mm-hmm.
memorials.
Mm-hmm.
We'll stick with the celebration of.
But I think
Holidays.
that perhaps you have pointed out a good response is that as a community building, we're in line with the town of Ashland and its events, and so perhaps we just need to. Should anything with that change, be open to that.
When the town stops doing it, we'll stop doing it. I guess that would be the correct answer.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
you're
we try
right.
to time it so that it can correspond with
The Christmas
kids
night in
having their
Ashland.
event
Yeah.
with the town's event. Down
I
the
have
park.
heard no feedback at all, so I can't
Okay.
whatsoever. And in fact, I never have. So good feedback. A little feedback I get.
Mhm.
So I can't say anything negative about what we're doing.
Okay.
That and the fact that the library personnel tried to have the town come through the library at that time for pictures of Santa, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think
Yeah.
we're doing the right thing. But
Okay.
if somebody puts a nativity scene out there,
I would
I'll
object to
personally
that.
Take it down.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
because it is community building. It's not a church.
Is it the same person this year?
Sherry and her little elf. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And generally, what we do is we buy them a gift certificate from the common man for their time and labor. Because
Okay.
obviously, not to put an hourly rate on it or anything like that, and they volunteer to do it, but we think it's nice that we buy them dinner.
Oh, okay.
If anybody objects to that, I
Decorating
certainly
for
don't
them.
have a problem reaching in my pocket and take care of it, because I did it for about 15 years, me and Ed and Dick, and after a while it becomes somebody else's duty, and they do a better job than we did just stringing lights and bushes.
Stringing out those lights.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did it for a lot of
we
years.
did it for a long time. Anybody else have anything? So the trust looks good at 104.
It's 106.
Oh, I'll get the wrong one in front of me. I'm sorry.
Have we heard anything back about the users?
Haven't
Fee on the
seen
library?
anything yet.
Nothing.
Haven't seen anything yet.
Give
Give them time to think
response.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, according to the Board of Selectmen meeting that I went to, now it's been 3 weeks ago, it had been sent to legal. That's what Fran said.
It's
The
what?
BO, it was sent to legal.
Yeah.
So with that, I haven't heard anything. We haven't heard. The Scribner board. Yeah.
No, I haven't even seen anything.
Yeah. I of course, minutes are somewhat scant, but I do hope that whatever minutes are eventually submitted from the meeting with the letter, which is prior to the meeting that we had last month, just that it states that I, did have reservations about the letter, but went ahead and signed it. My name is on it because it did tell the public in kind of a roundabout way that, the trust is not as high as it used to be, and that funding the building is a problem. I wondered if any of you have thought about how, asking, how long do you think the library would have to pay a user's fee until the trust would be in a healthier space?
Well, once you start a project like that, you generally don't walk away from it. That's like,
Yeah.
I think
I think that's inappropriate. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
And the only thing I would say to it is, you know, if you do the simple math, and I'm a simple math guy, so today there's $106,000 round in the thing. Now I understand your concern on the dynamics of doing percentages of things, okay? But in a simple world, $100,000 divided by the $8,000 to $10,000 a year. Let's use $10,000 a year. The $10,000 a year. If we cashed out today and put it over there in the safe, okay, which isn't a prudent thing to do, but just for its point of interest.
Right,
If we put it over there in the safe,
10 years.
we could probably run 10 years.
Right.
So the fact of the matter that there's this misnomer that we're going to be out of money in 17 to 34 months is Little Red Riding Hood yelling wolf, because short of the whole.
But you're assuming you can spend all 100,000, and I would say no, it'll be 60,000 because it's 40,000.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the day, if we put the money in the box and took the money out, obviously inflation's not going to be able to keep up with that, right? But on the other side of the street, this board here lived through the worst of times in 2008.
Yeah.
Now, by your standards, we shouldn't even be here at this point, correct? Yeah.
How so? Could you explain
In the
that?
sense that the 2008, when the market went crazy and everybody lost everything, we were still standing here, and we still are standing here. 11 years later.
Yeah.
So I'm not as concerned about the destruction of the trust fund as you may well be, or are aware that there's something going to go on that I don't happen to see. But I know in the last 8 to 11 years, we've maintained every year $100 to $105 or $8,000, depending on the market. Obviously, it's volatile in that situation, but we're not out of money.
No,
and I don't
not
think
yet.
we'll be out of money for a long time.
Can I address your question? Because it has a question that you brought up, and that is, how long do we intend to do it? If we do the utility fee. Well, I think it's been a long time coming. It's something that should have been done, as we stated in the letter many years ago. We should have probably started something like this so that we could have kept up with the heavy maintenance that is going to be required in the future. And I think that it's just something that's going to be there for as long as the library needs to use the building. And I think that and the reason for that is because the reason why we're even at this point is because the expenses, everything goes up. They're not going to go down in the future. So I think we have to have that utility fee in order to keep up with the increased expenses as well. I mean, that's the whole point of it. If we didn't have to do it, we wouldn't be doing it at all.
And quite honestly, it was a good idea on your part.
On my part,
Yes.
I didn't have the idea of charging the library
Yes, you
user's
did.
fee. No, I did
you
not. Did you listen to the audio taped meeting? Because that was not my idea. I did sign the letter, but I signed it with reservation, as the audio says, reveals that I said, I just don't think it's legal because we don't own the building, but none of us are lawyers, and so we sent it off. And I've also said many times, as Dick even pointed out, that I really think we should just go before the Board of Selectmen and ask for money, that I think the library is being used as a vehicle, because the library in and of itself has no income. And so the money would come from the tax bill.
That doesn't make any sense, because the library has other utilities that they pay all the time.
Which the Scribner used to pay and then stopped paying, so the libraries had to pay. But the library again gets its money from the tax bills. So it seems like it's just a vehicle.
But they still have their own checkbook, and they still pay their utilities and whatever else they have to pay.
Yeah, and this increased
membership fees and all that stuff. It comes out of that.
And
they have employees,
and they have a budget, and they have a budget
Exactly.
that goes before the budget committee, and this user's fee increases that budget by 15%,
Right. Sure.
which is a really big bounce.
It is. But it's been the burden that we've been incurring the whole time that they've been here, happily. And it's just got to that point, as you were the inspiration for this. You shined a light on it,
What
and
an
it's
honor.
absolutely true that as time goes on, it's going to etch away at this, and even though it looks relatively okay right now, there's some major things that we have to do that we haven't been able to do over the past couple of years.
That's right.
We wanted to do the other side of the roof, but boy, that would just take a bigger bite than we can really hack.
Yep.
So you see what I mean? It's like we're in that point. we're at that stage.
So
And
what
it
is the
happens with everybody. I mean, the highway department budget doesn't go down. The fire department budget doesn't go down.
No, it doesn't.
Nothing goes down. We've
Yeah.
managed to keep it pretty stable
Yep.
for a lot of years. So our expenses, even if they were the same expenses, they're all going up.
Yep.
Every part of it. So that's my answer to that question.
Yep.
Is I think that if we're in agreement that once we institute it, it's not something that we have a timeline on. Because I don't think that there's going to be a huge surplus at any given time, you know, to be able to
No.
do that once we've done all the things that need to be done.
I was just wondering. I did do the math, and it's not particularly simple, but I ran the numbers on a 6%. If the trust were completely left alone, didn't spend any of it, even on fixing the roof. I mean, didn't just left it alone. And if it had an average 6% annual return, which I think is pretty realistic, because that would account for great years and bad years, and recessions and non-recessions and bull and bear markets, I came up with 23 years of being left alone before it would be in a position to be able to have an income instead of being 2.5%, to be enough that 3% to support the building on a $9,000 a year. But anyway, it seems like that it was also the intention of you guys, you know, that this was not something that had a final endpoint. So
Right.
No.
I got nothing else. I'm sorry, my back is killing me. I've got a out a few days ago, and it's like
I'm sorry.
driving me nuts. But in any event, I don't have anything else. If we're planning on meeting next month, we can set a time now.
January,
1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, January 6th,
January 6th.
Monday, January 6th, Epiphany.
Yeah, that works.
Probably not pressing, but probably sometime in the next quarter, January, February, somewhere. We ought to start putting some feelers out as far as get some estimates and so forth, as far as the front roof. I don't think we're going to do anything about it now, but at least get an idea of what kind of money we're looking at.
Yeah,
Because that job's not going to go away either.
right.
That needs to be done.
And that one's a pain too. That side.
And the metal that fell off the roof from the
Yeah, I'll put
windstorm,
that back up.
it can be put back
Oh, yeah.
up. Oh, okay. I didn't know
It's
that was
just
something
the
that just need to
weather
be
and stuff
stored
hasn't been
until,
very good, so
I see.
I'm waiting for a dry, warm day.
Tommy and I do a lot of high wire work.
I think it's called May, a dry, warm day.
Yeah, I'll wait till May.
Yeah.
If that's it.
Anything?
That was a very quick
Cool.
meeting.
Thank you all for coming. Merry Christmas to all.